Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a beautiful crowd we have here tonight. And it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the annual tribute banquet of the Young Israel of Century City. Thank you. Yes, the tribute banquet of the Young Israel of Century City, otherwise known in the shul office as March Madness. Or better yet, as I like to refer to it, welcome to Mike Wiener's rehearsal dinner. For the millionth time, I am proud to be your master of ceremonies for the evening. Apparently, Ellen DeGeneres wasn't available tonight. I am certain that each and every one of you will have a most enjoyable time. There's going to be great food, rocking music, and wonderful entertainment. Tonight, our gala celebrates the 38th anniversary of our shul. My, how time flies. It's hard to believe that it's been 38 years, and it deserves celebration. A small shul that began with barely a minyan 38 years ago is now comprised of some 500 families, b'li ayin hara. You can clap for that. We have witnessed the growth of the West LA Jewish community and are proud to be at the forefront of that growth. Tonight, we are proud to honor Geri and Dr. YICC Wiener, our Tribute Award honorees. Let's hear it. We celebrate the accomplishments of a beloved couple who helped make our community what it is. And tonight, we honor Kathy Barnhard and Geri Hiller. Our leadership awardees, a wonderful couple who do so much for our shul and community. These two couples are an inspiration to us all. You will, of course, hear more about them throughout the evening. We thank you all for your attendance here tonight. You have made this a most successful banquet, and your participation and support of our Young Israel is so greatly appreciated. To begin our evening, my friends, it's my pleasure to call upon the most talented president of our shul to present the sought-after Keter Shem Tov Award. The rules, my dear friends, the rules explicitly state that you are not eligible to win the Keter Shem Tov Award if a group of rabbis have picketed your wedding ceremony, or if you take longer to daven Shmona Esrei than either Rabbi Muskin or Rabbi Goldberg. Please welcome our handsome and debonair president, Mr. Daniel Silverman.
Good evening. 27 years ago, our shul's board of directors unanimously voted that at our annual tribute dinner, a member would be selected to receive the coveted Keter Shem Tov Award. The Keter Shem Tov Award is presented to a member who volunteers his or her time in a selfless fashion for the benefit of our shul and community. The identity of the awardee remains secret until the presentation on the night of the annual dinner, tonight. Tonight, we proudly announce our 2014 mystery recipient. Our Keter Shem Tov awardee was born in New York and moved to Los Angeles before being married. Who's still in it? He attended Jewish elementary school and public high school in his hometown and spent a year in Israel at a yeshiva. During his high school years, he became an avid soccer player and played on the school's soccer team. Our awardee also loves reading war books and history. He met his wife on a singles Shabbaton in Vermont, but didn't start dating until months later when they reconnected on a Shabbat morning at the Jewish Center on the west side of Manhattan. To this day, he insists that his wife invited herself over for the Shabbat lunch, and as they say, the rest is history. Our awardee received an excellent education at Ivy League universities, where he earned a BA in European history and an MBA. At first, he moved to Los Angeles to work for a major firm, but today he is on his own, serving as a consultant, analyzing complex commercial real estate deals. Our awardee has completed the Daf Yomi cycle once and is a loyal attendee at Rabbi Sauer's Thursday night shiur. Master of Dikduk, our awardee has held classes in shul for kids and adults on how to read the Torah correctly. Whenever he reads the Torah in shul, he is assisted by his son on the bima with a most intricate sign language to help him with the trop. Following his late father's instructions that if you see something that needs to be done, don't wait for others, rather stand up and create the program, our awardee single-handedly created our 9 a.m. minyan during the summer months and also when the kids are off from Yeshiva High School. He is the inspiration and engine of this very successful minyan. Please join us in saluting our Keter Shem Tov awardee for 2014, our Buffalo Bills fan, the one and only Ron Kamenker. It says, Young Israel of Century City, Keter Shem Tov Award presented to Ron Kamenker in recognition and appreciation of his untiring efforts on behalf of our shul and community. Elazar Muskin, Rabbi, Daniel Silverman, President, March 30, 2014.
Let's give another mazel tov to Ron Kamenker, a well-deserved award, our Keter Shem Tov awardee. Wow. Shh. Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. All of us participate in our shul in one fashion or another. The truth is, our shul is virtually buzzing 24/7. Please turn your attention to the video screens to experience just a small snippet of what goes on at the Young Israel of Century City, the place where community happens. Thank you very much. Yes, we are just getting started is right. We have even more excitement planned. In fact, we've scheduled a bat mitzvah tefillin workshop for the girls before Shavuos. Don't miss it, it should be great. You know, you gotta love it. If you saw those slides, like we have a movie night at Sammy and Rifki's house. Everybody's in the kitchen eating, nobody's watching the movie. Not true, okay. Not everybody's eating, right? We're all eating. But I must tell you, if you miss seeing yourselves in the pictures, come join us at our future events. You really don't know what you're missing. I want to give a big, big thank you. It goes out to Ethan Eisenberg, who put that slideshow together with Rabbi Zev Goldberg. Thank you so much. And now it is my honor and pleasure to call upon Rabbi Elazar Muskin to present the coveted Leadership Award to Kathy and Geri.
Could I please have your attention? Could I ask the waiters to stop serving at this time? In June 2011, at Rutgers University's graduation, the Nobel Prize winner in literature, the African-American novelist Toni Morrison, was the graduation's guest speaker. During her brilliant address to the graduates, she bemoaned the fact that Thomas Jefferson drafted the Declaration of Independence of our great country and wrote the words, "Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Morrison turned to the college graduates at Rutgers on that day in June 2011, and she said the following: "I would rather have had Jefferson write the following: life, liberty, and the pursuit of meaningfulness, or the pursuit of integrity, or the pursuit of truth." And then, directing her comments to all the graduates in front of her, she continued and she said, "I know that happiness has been the real, if covert, goal of your labors here at the university. I know that it informs your choice of companions and the profession you will enter. But I urge you, please don't settle for happiness. It's not good enough. Personal success, devoid of meaningfulness, free of a steady commitment to social justice, that's more than a barren life. It's a trivial life. It's looking good instead of doing good." Our leadership awardees are a couple that totally understands a life of meaningfulness, and that's what they pursue. When I think of Kathy and Geri, one pasuk in Tanakh comes to my mind. It's the last verse in Megillat Esther, summing up the great career of Mordechai. The Megillah ends with the following words: "Doresh tov le'amo v'dover shalom l'chol zaro," seeking good of his people and speaking peace to all his seed. This is a striking description that deserves our notice. Mordechai had attained the highest office in the land, right beneath the king. He was Mishneh LaMelech. Just like Yosef of old, he was also the viceroy to the king, second in command. He traveled in the highest circles of Persian government of the time. And yet, the Megillah notes, the Maharalmi Prague comments, that not one iota did Mordechai change. All the power never went to his head. He remained Mordechai. V'doresh tov le'amo. His goal was one goal: the welfare and the good of his people. But the word doresh doesn't only mean to seek. It can mean to demand. Who's he demanding? Doresh tov la'amo, who's he demanding? And the Ibn Ezra, the Spanish commentator on Tanakh, says he was demanding it of himself. He was demanding a meaningful life that was devoted to his fellow man, to his fellow Jew. He was doresh tov la'amo. Kathy and Geri live by this principle of doresh tov la'amo. Their lives are motivated not by achieving happiness, but by achieving meaningfulness. How else can one explain the fact that they met in Washington, D.C., working both for AIPAC, and their desks were very close next to each other? You see, what happened then was they had just graduated from undergrad, from college. They both went independently down to D.C. They could have gone anywhere in 1988. They could have been like so many of their peers. They could have followed the path in search of that plum, lucrative job that maybe would have brought happiness. But that's not what they were looking for. They were looking for something else. And their path took them to a life of meaningfulness. It guided them by doresh tov la'amo. But this wasn't just some post-college distraction. Their lives have been guided ever since by the principle of doresh tov la'amo, a concern for community. Way after they left AIPAC professionally, AIPAC never left them. And because of that, they're still so involved in making connections with political leaders for one reason: because doresh tov la'amo, our people need it. Their involvement in our shul, whether it's Geri's outstanding tenure on our board, always willing to assume responsibilities whenever called upon, or Kathy's co-chairing our very successful Mishloach Manos this past Purim, or in the schools that their kids attend, it's all guided by one principle: to make our community better. Have you ever had a conversation with Kathy or Geri? It's never a frivolous, trivial one. It's just not. It doesn't happen. Their conversation with you is always focused, and it's always about an issue that needs to be addressed in the community. This is what makes them tick, and this is what they're thinking about 24/7. This is the home environment they were raised in. Kathy witnessed it in her parents' home, and Dr. and Mrs. Barnhard's home, where they taught by example. And Geri saw in his home, where his mother, Zichrona Livracha, may she rest in peace, together with his father, may he have a long life, and who's here with us tonight. They modeled what Geri emulates. And now Kathy and Geri, you're doing the same with your precious 3 kids, with Yona, Micah, and Meital. And each one of your children knows exactly what is demanded of them. They know, doresh tov la'amo, that they have to work for Klal Yisrael and for humanity. And at the same time, v'dover shalom l'chol zaro, to live a life where peace between each other and humanity is a reality and not just a dream. Tonight, therefore, we want to collectively thank you, Geri and Kathy, for allowing your names to be associated with our shul. And for that, we really thank you dearly. I know you were very reluctant to accept my request of your being honored tonight. And I personally thank you. And I know it was all because you follow Mordechai's example. Doresh tov la'amo, v'dover shalom l'chol zaro. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu, may the Almighty bless you, and may He grant you all the good that you so deserve. Amen. It's my honor at this time to ask Fred and Susie Tachek and Dr. Andrew and Marcy Spitzer to represent the Banquet Committee in making the presentation of our gift to Geri and Kathy. Geri, Kathy, will you please come forward?
Tonight, we're privileged to present our Leadership Award to a remarkable couple that has dedicated its life to Torah and to our community. Their love of Judaism and their commitment to mitzvot are an inspiration for all of us.
In honor of this occasion, we have chosen a Purim Grager in the shape of the Lion of Judah, designed and created by the Israeli artist Avner Agayov. This gift was chosen to express our gratitude for all the leadership that Kathy and Geri do on our behalf.
The inscription on the gift reads, Young Israel of Century City Leadership Award, presented to Kathy and Geri March 30th, 2014, Rabbi Muskin and Daniel Silverman. Mazel tov.
Nope. One second. Don't wait. We're going to do a selfie now. Anybody wants to come up? Come on up. We're going to retweet this, okay? And I'm going to let you know all night long how many tweets we're going to get. We're going to beat Obama. We're going to beat Ellen DeGeneres. You're going to see this picture is a classic, okay? Mazel tov. Are you kidding? Could lead to mixed dancing.
Well, thank you, Rabbi, for those very kind yet highly exaggerated words. 3 months ago, as part of what we now believe was a conspiracy to test the depth of our support for YICC, we were asked by the rabbi to hand over the names and addresses of our closest friends and associates and to license our likenesses non-exclusively without royalties to promote this year's banquet.
I cannot believe that is only the second sentence. Welcome to my world.
Thanks, honey. As I was saying, when we were asked to serve as honorees for this event, our initial reaction, like Rabbi Muskin just told you, was framed by some slight reluctance.
Slight reluctance? Which meeting were you in?
We had actually heard about these meetings from others before us.
Yes. Prior honorees have spoken of a goon squad brought in to twist arms.
But the rabbi, as usual, was well prepared for our reluctance. And to protect his ability to secure honorees for future banquets, we are not going to disclose the methods he used in our meeting, except for one.
You mean the heavy-handed guilt trip?
No. I was thinking about the impact of his telling us that we were sharing the evening with YICC and Geri, and how that information in particular made saying yes easy.
Easy?
Well, it made it easier.
Right. Sharing the evening with YICC and Geri changed our involvement this evening from excruciating to tolerable.
Talking about tolerable, honey, should we tolerate the fact that in prior years the honorees in our position were given the Young Leadership Award? And for some very strange, unknown reason, the word young was mysteriously left off the invitation this year?
Well, face it, we may feel young, we may act young, but we are not part of the young crowd.
Aha, now I get it. Ladies and gentlemen, honored Rabbeim, our dear family and friends, tonight we are honored to accept YICC's Not Young Leadership Award.
It is a true honor to join the ranks of those who have stood here before you to help ensure that our shul has the necessary resources to meet the needs of our continuously growing and vibrant kahila. And we are particularly thankful for the support tonight from those that are not members of our shul. We are inspired by your generosity. We are fortunate to have you as our family and friends. On behalf of the entire community, thank you. Thank you and thank you.
When reading about the details of the Mishkan toward the end of Sefer Shemot last month, we were struck by the profundity of a single word that appears repeatedly, but whose meaning changes significantly depending on the context. At the beginning of Parshat Tetzaveh, we are introduced to the word tamid, when we are instructed to light a ner tamid in the Mishkan. The word tamid in that context raises very practical questions about the frequency and length of time that the menorah must burn, and the Meforshim present three distinct approaches.
Rashi holds that it means the menorah must burn consistently every night, but only me'erev ad boker, from evening until morning.
The Rambam holds that it means all 7 branches of the menorah must burn constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And the Ramban creatively combines these interpretations and says that only one of the 7 branches must burn constantly, 24/7, while the other 6 need only burn consistently at nighttime.
For us, the multifaceted complexity of the word tamid best exemplifies YICC and explains why we are committed to enhancing its strength and vitality. We relish YICC's institutional constancy. It is there to provide comfort whenever anybody, chas v'shalom, needs it. We are also intellectually prodded and spiritually energized by YICC's programmatic and ritualistic consistency. It is there to enjoy occasionally, on a whim, or frequently as part of a regular commitment. Either way, it is there to tap into, if ever and whenever desired.
In recent months, there has been no shortage of heart-wrenching twists, turns, chaos, and uncertainty in our immediate community, in our home state, and on the world stage. And YICC's embodiment of tamid helps us navigate these challenges, as well as the routine ones, with faith and hope rather than despair. And we cannot speak about YICC's embodiment of consistency or constancy without expressing sincere hakarat hatov toward our always available, literally always available, Mora De'atra Rabbi Muskin, who reliably epitomizes constancy and consistency in all aspects of his service to YICC and the community at large.
We, of course, also want to thank Rabbi Goldberg for his tremendous work in the shul and for allowing our family to establish a very special relationship with him. Rabbi Ruchama, Michal, Rabbi Goldberg, thank you for your preeminent institutional stewardship, charismatic leadership, and sincere friendship. Before we take our seats, we want to also acknowledge from where we have come and recognize the path that has been set for us by our dear parents. We also want to recognize our 3 dear children, Yona, Micah, and Meital. You are our future, and you validate the path that was set for us.
Thank you again to everyone here, and have a wonderful evening.
Let's hear it for Kathy and Geri again. Let's hear it for them. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, we're selling raffle tickets tonight for a round trip for two to the Ukraine for $100 to Israel for $100 a ticket. We only have 22 tickets left. So make sure you purchase it because we're going to be pulling it at the end of the night. Only 22 tickets left. We're only selling 100 tickets. So you have really, really good odds. So please get your tickets. Could you please find your seats? Kathy and Geri, you guys were great. I just want you to know, we had an emergency board meeting. We've now changed the name of our institution to the Not Young Israel of Century City. So this way you'll feel at home. Could you all please find your seats at the Barnhard Hiller table? Yeah, we're just going to take a second here. We're going to reset the stage because you're in for some really, really great entertainment in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, please face the stage. Shh. Can I have your attention? Please face the stage. We have with us tonight an individual who takes magical entertainment in a new direction of performance art by combining magic and theater in an innovative and artful way. Highly acclaimed by his peers as one of the most unique acts in magic today, he is only the 8th magician to be awarded the International Brotherhood of Magicians Gold Medal. Millions of television viewers watched as he was awarded the Best Cabaret Magic Award at the World Magic Awards on My Network TV. And in the years 2009 and 2014, he was a featured performer on the hit TV series Masters of Illusion. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and give a warm welcome for the artful deception of Arthur Trace.
Hello! There we go. Thank you, Mark. Silence is golden. How's everybody doing tonight? Good, good, good. We're just going to clean up the stage just a little bit here. For those of you seated on the sides, you might want to watch the monitor. You're a little bit far away, and you're also at the side of me. So if you watch the stage, you're probably going to figure out how some of this works, which is up to you, so you have that choice. Let's start over here. I like to make this as interactive as possible. Sir, what is your name? I'm sorry? Hello. Hello? Check this out. Thank you. That's the show. That's the extent of my comedy, people. Hello? Well, you know what? I think we should add some music. Tonight I'm going to perform for you something that's a little strange. Brace yourselves. Okay, hello, so it's very strange, right? And now for the hard part. Watch closely. All right? Camera guy, if you get me waist on up, that would be perfect. Watch as the ends of the rope over here, and the middle of the, well, I should say the middle, and the ends as they jump. From one side to the other. Please, please, hold back the applause. And some of you did. Some of you did. Hey, hello, you know this isn't real magic, right? Otherwise, you would have applauded louder, right? Over here in the red, ma'am, what is your name? Wow, the show is so intriguing, she doesn't even notice there's a person on stage. What is your name? Yes, I'm talking to you. We have Alice. Alice, look, live stage show. Oh, no worries. No, Alice, what puzzles me is how the scissors appear on the rope, on the middle. What scissors? Hello, I'm so glad you asked. These scissors. Yeah. I like the people who vocally react. Oh. Yeah, you know who you're talking about. Hillel's not one of them, right, Hillel? He's so dignified and refined, you're not reacting to any of this. Wow, it's like pulling teeth up here. Hillel, this trick is a lot more impressive if I tie the ends of the rope together, right here, and I make the knot slide from one side to the other. I love that part, Allison. But you know what? It gets even better, and all you have to do is just watch and listen. Elliot, if we can notch up the music a little bit, that would be great. Watch as I melt the ends, right here, off the rope, leaving me with just the middle. Allison, I can't believe this works! Timing, it's everything. Whatever you do, do not blink. This goes for everyone. Watch as they melt back onto the rope. This is my favorite part. Join me on stage as the audience gives you a thunderous round of applause. Hillel, everyone. Come on up here, Hillel. That means come and join me on stage. Keep it going for Hillel. There we go. That was a long walk, wasn't it? I picked the most energetic guy from the neighborhood, so this is going to work out perfectly. Hillel, I want to share with you something that's from my childhood. Are you up for it? Great. Don't go anywhere. It's the world's largest tin can telephone. Hillel, have you ever used one of these before? Do you have AT&T? Similar service. I'll share with you how mine works. This is the end you will be in charge of. Kind of look like that Verizon wireless guy, huh? I think this is the receiver here. Hello, hold it close to your ear like so. Yeah, the other one. The other one. There we go. Take a couple of steps in that direction, not quite off the stage. One more step. Yeah, right there is good. We're going to make this a long distance call. It's a payphone.
Hello, can you hear me now? There you go. Where are you from, hello? You're where?
To continue, please deposit $20.
$20? Donations? Okay, this sir's eating his salad. He has priorities. It's okay, hello. I won't ask you for your money. I've got a better idea. Check this out. Hopefully the camera guy could capture this. That's $2. Oh. That's $3. What, you people look like you see this every day. There's more. want you to give this a try. Step one, step over here closer to me. Face the camera right there. You can hold the receiver in your right hand like I'm holding mine and drop it to the side. Using your free hand, reach up into the air and grab a coin out of thin air. Nice technique. Go ahead, toss it in. Hold on, let me see your hand. Hold on, loosen up here, it's okay. Sorry I'm invading your personal space. I know this sounds strange. Blow. Hello. Take one more step that way. I think we have enough to make that call, shall we? Let's see what we got here.
I'm sorry, your call cannot be completed. Please try again.
Yeah, hello, this means come here. Here, hold the receiver high up in the air like this. You're doing great. And then just tilt it. Hello! Thank you so much, Hillel. You were fantastic. Keep it going for Hillel. I'm originally from Chicago. Some of you may know Chicago's the city of improv, yes? Yeah, we got a few fans out there, perhaps a few that are from the Midwest, yes? Show of hands? Okay, or a show of a whistle, that works too. Anyway, Chicago's a city of improv, second city, so I thought this would be a good point in my show to do something a little bit more improvisational, something that I don't usually do. Are you up for it? All right, let's get started. In fact, it's so improvisational, this too is choreographed to music. Was it Allison? Alice? Alice, I'm gonna come in, well, if you don't mind, I don't wanna go in front of the speaker because it's gonna squeak. Can you step right up here and at any point reach in and remove a playing card if you'd be so kind? Yeah? Make sure it's not the Ace of Hearts. Is it the Ace of Hearts? It is? Show the camera, because these people don't believe it. The Ace of Hearts. That's a 1 in 52 chance. Now, don't worry, they don't seem impressed. Neither do I. But Alice, perhaps that card is meant for you. Look, it's open. Go ahead and sign your name in big bold. It's open, Alice. I just clicked it open. It's one of those technology, advanced markers. Put your name in big bold letters on the face of the Ace of Hearts. You did? Great. Show the camera just so everybody can see. There we go. I'll go ahead and take back the marker. We'll wait a second for the ink to dry. That way, Alice, you don't necessarily have to remember that it's the ace. All you have to do is remember your name. Yes? Yes, good. At any point, just say stop. Place your card back onto the deck. All right? Thank you so much. Please have a seat. Alice, everyone. Now, a regular magician would just have one card selected, so let's make this a little bit more interesting. It's also in the spirit of improv, so I think I should keep on going. Ma'am, what is your name? Marcy. Marcy, if you look away, I can still see you. All right? Marcy, at any point, just say stop. Please remember your card, okay? Got it? Don't forget it. That makes it twice as difficult. Now I have to find 2 cards. Oh, sir, paparazzi man, videotaping. At any point, just say stop. Please remember that card. Got it? That makes it 3 times as difficult. By the way, if you get a card, do not forget the identity of it. Otherwise, this trick is not very good. Over here in the blue tie, I believe, sir, right there. What is your name? Jack? Jeff, just say stop. Please remember that card, okay? I just noticed this. I could be looking at the video screens, but I'm not. I assure you, I'm not looking at the video screens. Over here, let's see here. Behind Alice, ma'am, what is your name? I'm sorry? Just say stop. Please remember that card. Okay, that makes it 5 times as difficult. Next to you, what is your name, sir? Judah, we met earlier. Just say stop. That makes 6 people. You got it, Judah? Judah, if you can't see the card, just look at the screen, okay? I think I will be able to pick it up. Over here, sir, what is your name? Rabbi. Please, just say stop. Please remember that card. Hold on, we'll show it to the camera, Rabbi. Just look at the screen. Got it? Okay, I'll make it easy for you. That's 5, 6, 7. Let's go for 2 more. Next to the rabbi, what is your name, sir? Joe. Just say stop. Joe, remember that card. Look at the screen. Got it? I won't look at the screen. And next to Joe, ma'am, what is your name? Yes, you. And I just say stop. Remember that card. Look at the screen. Got it? Good. Everybody who selected a card, please stand up. Everybody who selected a card, please stand up. My goal, as you all know, is to locate each and every one of your cards. If I'm successful, well, apparently I picked more cards, more people to pick more cards than I realized, okay? Well, they just appear out of the blue. My goal is to locate each and every one of your cards. If I succeed, please stand down. Excuse me, sit down. I'll be showing the cards to the camera, so look at the screens just to verify your card, okay? Just to make sure these are nicely shuffled. Sometimes people think I keep track of the cards in some unusual way. Let's get started. One card from the center of the pack. On the count of 3. We'll start all the way over here. 1, 2, 3. Hillel, I know what you're thinking. Shocking, isn't it? Does the 7 of clubs look familiar? Yes, please have a seat. That's 1 down, a lot more to go. Joe, if you'd be so kind, say the card you picked. Jack of diamonds, that's impossible, Joe, because it's not in the deck. It happens to be right here inside my pants pocket, the Jack of diamonds. Yes! Rabbi, did you also select the Jack of diamonds? What was your card? The Queen of diamonds. Don't blink. The Queen of diamonds. I love it when this stuff works, don't you? However, I want to make it more interactive. Judah, as I riffle down through the cards like so, at any point that you wish, just say stop. Okay? Here we go. How did you do? Yes? The 2 of hearts. This is called card control. It's one of the reasons my friends don't allow me to play cards, especially if we're playing for money. But in order to control the cards, I need to know the identity of them first. What was your card? 7 of diamonds. I'll cut to it, although indirectly. The 7 of diamonds. Thank you. Your card is a little bit lower down in the pack. What was it? There we go. The Jack of hearts. Thank you. And now my favorite, finding 2 cards at the same time. What was your card? 9 of clubs? 9 of diamonds. What was your card? Watch as they both transform. Hopefully the camera can get a close-up of this. Don't blink. The 9 of diamonds and the 6 of spades. Last but not least, Alex, you selected a card. You signed it. Yours is the biggest mystery of all. It escapes. It goes here inside my pocket, inside my wallet, and inside this zippered compartment. And Alice, to prove that it's your card, we have your name right there on the Ace of Hearts. That's a souvenir for you to keep. Let's hear it for everybody who helped out. How many of you have heard of the Magic Castle in Hollywood? Yes? A few years ago, they sponsored me to compete at the World Championships of Magic held in Stockholm, Sweden. Over 3,000 magicians gathered to watch the competitions. My category of competition was manipulation, which is basically sleight of hand on stage, and I'm happy to say that I won one of the awards in manipulation. Thank you. So now it's really an honor for me to close my set by performing the type of magic that has taken me all around the world. And if you're seated on the sides, this will look a lot better on the screen. Trace, thank you so much. I'll hand it back over to the Master of Ceremonies, Mark, everyone. Thanks again, guys.
Let's hear it for the comedy and the magic of Arthur Trace. You know, this is really an amazing story. Bill Gates advertised that he needed a manager for Microsoft in Europe. So he puts an ad in the newspaper. 5,000 people show up to a big convention hall for this job to be the new manager of Microsoft in Europe. So he gets up there and he thanks everybody for coming, and he says, you know, before we start, you have to know the language of Java. You have to know computer script. So 2,000 people at that point get up and walk out. Little Moshe Cohn is sitting over there, guy with a beard, a kippah, glasses. He goes, you know, I don't know JavaScript, but what the heck, I'm going to sit here. So Bill Gates goes, well, okay, you know, you have to be, you've had to manage at least 100 people in your job before. Another 2,000 people get up and walk out of the room. Moshe's sitting over there, he goes, me manage? I never managed anybody. My wife tells me what to do. I don't manage anybody. But what the heck am I going to sit here? Okay. So now he gets up there and he says, you know, Bill Gates says, to have this job, you have to have an advanced education, an MBA and a PhD. Anybody who doesn't have that, please get up now. Another 500 people walk out. Moshe's sitting there, he goes, you know, at 15, I dropped out of high school. I didn't get any advanced degree, but what the heck, I'm going to sit here. It doesn't make a difference. Finally, Bill Gates says, okay, because this is a job here in Europe, you have to be fluent in Serbo-Croatian. Anybody who can't speak Serbo-Croat, please get up now. 498 people walk out of the convention center. There's 2 people left sitting over there with Bill Gates. Bill Gates goes, okay, I understand. You know Java. You've managed over 100 people. You've had at least the PhD, and you speak Serbo-Croat. How about I see the 2 of you speak Serbo-Croat to each other? So Moshe, without batting an eyelash, goes, Baruch atah Hashem. To which the other guy goes, Elokeinu melech haolam. Ladies and gentlemen, make your bracha, have your dinner, enjoy. We'll see you on the other side. B'teavon. My dear friends, as you well know, in just about 2 weeks, we will be celebrating the holiday of Pesach. In just about 2 weeks, we will be celebrating the holiday of Pesach. So something for you to think about. If men had to clean the house for Pesach, and if women had to put up a sukkah, they'd both start Erev Pesach. Rifki liked that. Okay, Rifki liked that one. Okay, did everybody get that? If women had to build a sukkah and men had to clean the house for Pesach, they'd both start Erev Pesach. Okay. Keep those tweets coming. We have a very, very, very special presentation for you. Our very own shul member. Our very, very own shul member, davens in the 930 minyan very often, Ami Kozak, moved to the Los Angeles community in 2001. He has since become very active in the local LA music scene, both Jewish and secular, composing music for film and television, producing and collaborating with various artists, playing events with his Jewish music group, Ami and Dove, that you heard during the cocktail hour. And now, I'd like to introduce to you a most popular band, which performs at the most notable LA clubs. Please give a warm YICC welcome to Distant Cousins.
Oh, yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, oh. Today I'll take my own advice and make the most of it. Too many times my choices have been guided by my fears. Into the dark and unknown water I will sink or swim. Like a blade of grass reaching for the sun, I'm ready to begin. Keep on climbing up against the wind. streets below were cold and crowded. I asked my way around. The loudest truth I ever heard was the softest sound. When you whispered in my ear, the first time I could see, I was looking everywhere. You're right here next to me. I keep on climbing up against the wind. Tonight the sky is calling. Are you ready? Are you ready to fly on your own? Today I'll take my own advice and make the most of it. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. How you guys doing out there? Can't hear you. Come on, wake up. Let's go. How you guys doing out there? Thank you so much. I'm Ami Kozak. This is my band, Distant Cousins. This is Cousin Dove over here. Heard him during the cocktail hour. And Cousin David. That's right. This next song, some of you may know. Dr. Wiener, I heard through the grapevine that you are a hardcore Dylan fan. Is that correct? And through the grapevine, I mean Zev, he told me. Yes? 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 Okay,
Mommy,
good.
You're scaring him. Stop it. You're scaring him. Look.
So you will like this one. We dedicate it to you. And song is about, you know, changing times, and I think new shul's going to be built soon, and it's very fitting for what is going on and all the exciting things in this community. Without further ado.
Come gather around people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing. Writers and critics prophesize with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. And don't speak too soon, for the wheels they will spin, and there's no telling who that is naming. For the loser now will be later to win, for the times they are a-changing. Mothers and The slow one now will later be fast, as the present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading. The first one now will later be last, for the times they are changing. For the times they are changing. For the times they are changing.
Thank you. All right, this last song we're going to play for you is the very first song we wrote together. It's called On My Way.
The road is wide open, there's no one for miles around. My head can't stop spinning, so I turn the radio on. And I heard a song through the static. I'm on my way. There's light in the distance, and all I can do is keep driving. Mistakes that I made fade in the mirror behind me. And there was a scar, but I shed my skin. It tore me apart, so I could.
Cousin Vivid on the bouzouki. Thank you very much. Thank you. We are distant cousins. Thank you. Give it up for Mark, ladies and gentlemen, doing such a great job tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, distant cousins, let's hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, planning a beautiful banquet like this evening takes a lot of work and effort. I, of course, want to thank the entire banquet committee. I'm not going to enumerate them, but they know who they are. And we also want to thank our honorees who worked so hard to make this evening a success. What a pleasure to work with them. However, my dear friends, we couldn't do what we do without the help of our wonderful shul administrator, Ms. Rebecca Jalali. We thank her for all that she does. Rebecca, you're the best. And also we want to thank Rebecca's assistant, Cynthia, in the office. Thank you, Cynthia. And of course, Acharon Chaviv, we thank our dear assistant rabbi, Rabbi Zev Goldberg, for all that he did to make this evening a success. And now we come to another highlight of the evening. The Torah portion of the past month in the book of Shmos describes the construction of the Mishkan by the Bnei Yisrael. If you follow closely the construction of the Mishkan, you see that it involved an amalgamation of many different materials and substances derived from every sphere and aspect of our world. There was gold, silver, copper from the ground, precious stones from the heavens, hides and wools, which are animal products, different colored dyes that are derived from living creatures whose place of origin are the earth's bodies of water or those that are endemic to dry land. This conglomeration of such different building materials teaches us a most important lesson, that of shalom and achdus, that of peace and unity. Throughout the description of the Mishkan construction, in all the details, from the wooden beams and the brackets which held them in place, to the curtains that were sewn and clipped together, the emphasis was on, let the Mishkan be one. The Torah reiterates this requirement for the Mishkan, and this ultimately represents the oneness of Am Yisrael and the peaceful coexistence of all elements of the Jewish people. And just like the Mishkan of old, our shul has the unique capacity of uniting individuals of diverse backgrounds, financial means, and ages into a cohesive group of people who come together to serve Hashem. And this is in great part due to the dynamic leadership of our rabbi. For believe it or not, 28 years now, Rabbi Muskin has guided us, all of us, regardless of background, in the manner in which to conduct our lives as responsible Jews. He has imbued in each and every one of us a sense of spirituality which transfers into each and every facet of our daily lives. He has taught us to carry the spirit and ethics of our Yiddishkeit with us day in and day out, regardless of our professions, regardless of who we are or where we go. Our Rav has taught us to be involved in our community at large. We must not look out for what is good for us, but to look out what is for best for the community that we are a part of. He has taught us to make a positive impact on others outside of our community, to Jews on the right, to Jews on the left, and to non-Jews as well. His leadership in the shul, in every aspect of our congregation, whether administration, public relations, programming, and fundraising, has made our shul that is the envy of congregations locally and nationwide. He's an amazing fundraiser. He called 3/4 of you to come to this banquet tonight. I remember sitting Kol Nidre night in shul once, and during the speech, a little girl sitting next to her father became restless as the rabbi's appeal kept going on and on and on. Finally, the little girl turns over to her father and says, "Daddy, if we give him the money now, will he let us go?" His dedication to his Rabbanit and to his family, despite the numerous commitments he has, is a pleasure to behold. And most of all, he is a friend to each and every one of us, and he cares about each and every one of us. And now, to make the tribute address, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce our dear rabbi and our dear friend, the Moreh D'Asra of Young Israel of Century City, Rabbi Elazar Muskin.
Could I ask the waiters to please stop serving? And could we have your attention? we ask the waiters to please stop serving. What Mark didn't tell you was that the little girl had red hair, and she was sitting next to a red-headed Rebbitzin. Allow me to take this time to publicly thank Dr. Mark Goldenberg for serving as our amazing MC. In truth, everything that he said really applies to Dr. Goldenberg. He's not just our MC tonight, but this dinner is because he's so involved. It's a successful dinner because Mark loves Young Israel of Century City. He does everything with such loyalty and care. He's concerned about every facet of the banquet, from helping me approach the honorees, offering his office to call nights, making the weekly Shabbos announcements that everyone loves and wishes you would do all year around, offering all of his talent and arranging the program that we've so enjoyed tonight. So Dr. Mark, thank you for everything you do for Young Israel. Yesterday in shul on Shabbos morning, I encountered a dilemma. I wished Dr. Isaac Wiener a wonderful good Shabbos. Dr. Isaac turns to me and he says, Rabbi, I have a special request. I know it's a bit late. You usually prepare ahead. But would you do me a favor? Instead of giving a tribute, would you roast me? I didn't know how to answer, so I really didn't answer. To be honest, I was stumped. I never roasted anyone. They didn't teach me that in yeshiva. On the way home from shul yesterday, I turned to Ruchama and I shared my dilemma. I told her, Dr. Isaac wants me to roast him. Ruchama, in her brilliant insight, said to me, it's not a problem. I have the answer. She says, you can't give a roast. Dr. Wiener is a cardiologist. He doesn't eat red meat. Issue resolved. Sorry, Isaac. No roast. 5 years ago, my mother told me the following story. It's about a man that actually Isaac and Geri both respect and know very well. The story happened at my nephew's high school graduation in Cleveland at Beit Sefer Mizrahi. The guest speaker for the graduation was Rabbi Haskell Lookstein from New York. His granddaughter was also graduating from that very graduating class that year. Rabbi Lookstein began his address in an unconventional way. He turned to the high school graduates and he challenged them and asked them a halachic question. He asked the students, if for some reason you were distracted one day with an emergency and you simply can't remember if you davened the Amidah, if you said Shemona Esrei, or for that matter, any of the Shemona Esreis during the day, do you repeat the Amidah out of safek, out of doubt, or do you skip the opportunity? The students all responded. Collectively, they said, no, you don't repeat out of safek because it is a derabanan, it's a rabbinic edict to pray, and therefore, no, we don't repeat the words of the Amidah, the blessings. But then Rabbi Lookstein asked him, but what if the same thing happened to you after you've eaten a meal with bread? You don't remember if you said Birchat HaMazon, grace or not. This time, the students all responded collectively that, yes, you would have to repeat Birchat HaMazon because Birchat HaMazon ve'achalta ve'savata uve'rachta is a biblical obligation. And when you have a suffix, you repeat the bracha. Rabbi Lookstein then turned to the graduates and he thanked them and congratulated them for learning the halachot very well. But then he proceeded to suggest to them another way to view the questions he had asked. And he offered a lesson to those graduates that is precious. He said the Amidah, he noted, during the week, is overwhelmingly a prayer devoted to requests of God. We ask God for everything. We turn to God with 19 blessings of give me, give me, give me. If that is so, then if you are not sure, you don't repeat, because for asking for something, you don't repeat. Birchat HaMazon, grace, is a thanksgiving to God for giving us the meal he's given us. Indeed, he told the graduates, there's never enough thank you to the Almighty in one's life, and therefore you repeat the Birchat HaMazon. Tonight, we are all gathered here to say thank you to an amazing couple. Dr. Isaac and Geri are very special friends of all of ours. Allow me to frame my words of tribute with a fascinating insight from the Haggadah Shel Pesach that we will recite just in a little over 2 weeks. Right after we recite the Manishtana, and we begin to tell the story of Exodus from Egypt, we stop and we tell a story of 5 rabbis, great rabbis from the Mishnaitic period, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Lazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Tarfon, all gathered together at one Seder in the city of Bnei Brak, celebrating the holiday together. When reading this story, if you're not familiar with the history and biography of these great rabbis, you would assume that all of these 5 rabbis are of the same age, the same generation, and certainly colleagues that know each other very, very well. But the truth is, they're not of the same age at all. Rabbi Akiva was much, much, much younger than Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was much younger than Rabbi Akiva. If this is so, then what was the intent of the Baal HaSeder, of the one who put together the Haggadah, to include this as a passage on Haggadah night, on Seder night? The Rav Soloveitchik Zichrono Livracha noted that the message is a very important one. It's to teach us that those rabbis were a community of old and young united with one mission. On that very night, they were worried and debated one issue: how to transmit the Torah midor ledor, from generation to generation. The tale of the rabbis in Bnei Brak wasn't some historical event. Rather, it was the perennial story of the Jew throughout the ages. Our leaders have stayed up all night, if you will, throughout the generations, trying to figure out the secret of how we can make the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, of Exodus from Egypt, not only our story, but the story of our children and grandchildren as well. Tonight, we have chosen a couple that worries about this all the time, about transmitting the Torah from generation to generation. But they do something to make sure it happens. How else can we explain the hours upon hours upon hours that Geri has invested in teaching not only adult education in our city, but the time she invested first at Hillel Hebrew Academy and now at EULA, even though all your children have long since graduated those 2 schools? How else can we explain Geri's leadership in our shul, where she served first as a board member and then as our chairwoman of the board? How else can we explain how Dr. Isaac, one of the busiest and most accomplished cardiologists in this city, always finds time to be in shul without fail, to be available for everyone that turns to him for medical advice? His medical practice, ladies and gentlemen, is not defined by office hours. I know for a fact that he will return calls while he's on vacation anywhere on the globe. If somebody needs him, Dr. Isaac is there to help. How else can we explain the amazing 3 children that they've raised and their wonderful spouses? Michael, Zev, Tova, you've achieved success in your professions, and yet you've become models of commitment and devotion to Judaism. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. They witnessed everything in their parents' home, where they were outstanding professionals, both Geri and Isaac, but who at the same time live a life devoted to Torah and mitzvot. But they also witnessed something else, something very precious. that defines who Isaac and Geri are. It's a commitment to their past. Whenever you speak to them, you will always hear them talk about their parents, Zichronam Livracha. For Isaac and Geri, the memory of their parents is a living reality that they see in their heads day in, day out. They learned from their parents to imbibe a love of Judaism. So tonight we say thank you. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Geri, for first and foremost agreeing to be honorees at this dinner. It took me a long time to convince you. Actually, years. But I didn't give up. And finally, you acquiesced. And you agreed to be honored, but not for yourselves, and we know that. You agreed because you knew the shul and its mission of transmitting Torah needed your help. Dr. Isaac and Geri, we admire you. We respect you. We love you. Thank you for all that you do on behalf of everyone in this community. Amen. It is my pleasure to call the following to represent the banquet committee in presenting the gift that we have for Geri and Isaac. Would Marcia and Dr. Manny Wasserman and Rena and Dr. Sherwin Eisenberg please come forward?
Tonight, our synagogue is privileged to present its tribute award to a remarkable couple that have dedicated their lives to Torah and have served as teachers and leaders in our shul and community.
In honor of this occasion, we have chosen a framed original paper cut designed and created by the Israeli artist Noah Atias. This gift was chosen to express our gratitude for all that Dr. Isaac and Geri do by opening their home and hearts to so many projects that affect our shul and community.
The inscription on the gift reads,
and I will translate from the original Aramaic. Young Israel of Century City Tribute Award presented to Dr. Isaac and Geri Wiener, March 30, 2014, 28 Adar Bet, 5774, Rabbi Muskin Rabbi, Elazar Muskin Rabbi, and Daniel Silverman President, and various Vice Presidents.
Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, please feel free, turn on your cell phones, turn on your beepers and iPads. Go ahead and text your friends. You have honored us by supporting Young Israel, and we have no additional requests. Both Geri and I grew up in Young Israel communities. Both my parents and Geri's parents subscribed to the central idea of Young Israel, to develop an Orthodox Judaism that would thrive in America. They were founders and leaders of the Young Israel of Hillcrest, the Young Israel of Los Angeles, and the Young Israel of Beverly Hills. Of course, if we were back in the Young Israels in the 1960s, this event would not be a dinner, but a dinner dance. For the record, I did try. Geri and I joined Young Israel of Century City over 30 years ago. At that time, Young Israel was new and forging a unique identity. The membership committee consisted of Harvey Tannenbaum and Larry Platt. I remember their exact words: "Join with us, and we promise you, you will never have to attend the banquet." That's okay, I didn't believe them. We and our children were drawn to the warmth and intimacy of the early Young Israel. I remember my young sons remarking, "We like a shul where everyone yells out, 'Kiddush!'" Young Israel back then, after Rabbi Kenny Cohen departed for Israel, truly was the Wild West. There was no art scroll sitter to instruct the davening, and ambiguities were resolved by which faction shouted the loudest. I don't think we ever figured out when you were supposed to say or not say Av HaRachamim. Nonetheless, the shul was almost 100% successful in accomplishing its overriding goal, finishing services before Beth Jacob. Young Israel was also characterized by men like the late Dr. Ira Harrow and the late Rabbi Ephraim Fisher, Zichronam Livracha, whose unwavering commitment to Yiddishkeit in the shul inspired us all. Soon after we joined, Geri and I were asked to serve on the Rabbinic Search Committee. As best I can recall, this is the only official position I ever held in the shul. Some of the committee meetings took place right in this room. The first rabbi we interviewed was from South Africa. He was an outspoken proponent of apartheid and hoped to organize pro-apartheid support in the US. We did not hire him. The next candidate wanted a clause in his contract that freed him from any rabbinic duties that conflicted with his attempts to land roles acting in movies. While this was an intriguing way to finance a rabbinic position for which there was no funding, we did not hire him. The third candidate was a young rabbi on his honeymoon who was trying to escape a dying shul in Upper Manhattan. This candidate was learned, empathetic, and energetic. He was also willing to work for less than the legal minimum wage. We hired him. With the arrival of Rabbi Muskin, young Israel became much more focused, but no less exciting. Rabbi Muskin assumed the pulpit at a breakaway shul and then promptly adopted the slogan, "No breakaways." You remember that? Yeah. I soon detected a common pattern. People would attend for a while and then find some reason to go elsewhere. Inevitably, they returned 6 months to a year later and were showered with attention and kibbudim. This strategy seemed like more hassle than it was worth. And once I got an aisle seat, we stayed put and enjoyed the growth of the shul. It is a well-known fact that during Rabbi Muskin's 28-year tenure, the shul has grown from 60 to 499 families. What is less well known is that during that same time period, the dying shul in Manhattan grew from 30 to over 800 families. For the past it's good that you laughed. Yeah. For the past 30 years, Young Israel of Century City has been at the center of our spiritual life. At this very same shul, with the very same outstanding rabbi, we named our daughter, celebrated 2 bar mitzvahs and a bat mitzvah, and recently had the naming of our granddaughter. Come to think of it, these events are the only times I've been able to get an aliyah. While both Geri and I are the beneficiaries of yeshiva educations, for which our parents sacrificed greatly, our membership at Young Israel has deepened our understanding of and passion for Torah, mitzvot, and chesed. I certainly never anticipated that my spiritual journey through life would include Listerine strips on Yom Kippur. It's a little too much, maybe. I don't know. Like the homes in which we grew up, Rabbi Muskin always stressed treating your fellow man with warmth and dignity. He has insisted that we always greet any newcomers to shul. I remember one wintry Shabbat in 1994. It had been an exhausting week. In shul, someone I had never seen before sat next to me. I was not in a sociable mood. but Rabbi Muskin's words rang in my ears. You must greet the newcomer. So I introduced myself, and wouldn't you know it, by the very next day, my new friend was visiting me at home, and he has continued to be an annual visitor. By following Rabbi Muskin's instructions, I've been making donations for 20 years to This is true. Where's the rabbi? Is he okay? To yeshiva that I'm still not sure exists. Where is he? Is he okay? Let's see. Young Israel has also been at the center of our social life. Young Israel has been a wonderful place to meet and befriend fellow Republicans. Scratch that. We are a nonprofit organization. So many of our dear friends are people we met at shul. The Midrash tells us that in greeting our friend, we are recognizing God's presence in each person. Indeed, the common practice of schmoozing in shul goes back not only to the shtetl, but all the way to Talmudic times. My presence on this day sends an important message that you can occasionally schmooze in shul and still become an honoree. At least I'm not a member of the Kiddush Club. Now, the real reason I'm here tonight is Geri. She is a natural leader and has devoted her boundless energy to many important causes, including not only Young Israel, but also the OU's Women Torah Network, Eula, and Hillel. As chairwoman of the board at Young Israel, she dealt with issues both large and small, both of immediate import and related to the future, always defending the best interests of the entire shul. Before I turn the microphone to Geri, I would like to share a brief Dvar Torah. Parshas Truma begins, "Vayikchu li truma," let them take from me a portion. Rashi quotes the Midrash on the word li lishmi, for me, dedicated to my name. In his commentary on this Rashi, the Kehilat Yitzchak, who lived in 19th century Warsaw, offers an intriguing insight into the nature of the mitzvah of tzedakah. When we give charity to a needy person, even if the gift is without proper intent, possibly even with some grumbling, we still fulfill the mitzvah of tzedakah, because ultimately a needy person is benefited. However, when Bnei Yisrael gave to the Mishkan, or by extension we give to the Mikdash Ma'at that is Young Israel, we are only returning to God possessions that are already His. Thus, in this instance, we fulfill the mitzvah of tzedakah only if we have the proper intent, when we are giving in God's name. I thank you all for your good intentions in supporting Young Israel of Century City. Thank you again.
Just like the bat mitzvah boys, I get to be higher. Thank you, Isaac. You not only have the opportunity each day to perform many mitzvot through your medical practice, but you do so with the greatest expertise and deepest humility and compassion. And when I say that you are totally supportive of what I do, I mean that on a number of levels. L'chvod u'birshut, Rabbi Muskin, all the Rabbanim, family, and friends. Isaac and I are delighted to share this lovely evening with Kathy and Geri. They set standards of community involvement and midot tovot to which not only their lovely children, but all of us can aspire. And we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our incomparable Rabbi Muskin, our terrific assistant Rabbi Zev Goldberg, Rebecca Jalali, who makes YICC run, and her wonderful office staff, our amazingly talented Mark Goldenberg, our esteemed president, Daniel Silverman, and chairman of the board, Elisa Schoenfeld, and our hardworking banquet committee for making this evening such a resounding success. Thank you all. As many of you may know, Isaac hails from the tradition of the Novardok Yeshiva in Europe. Novardok preached Musar, shunning the spotlight and seeking humility. A prototypical Novardok story would be: A new student in the base medrash is beating himself on his chest and repeating over and over, I'm no good, I'm no good, I'm no good. His fellow yeshiva bachrim listen to him and comment, look who thinks he's no good. Okay. So, you can imagine that it was not easy for Isaac and me to accept the position that we are occupying this evening. Why on earth, then, did we accept? Okay, Rabbi Muskin, not to mention Mark Goldenberg, can be very persuasive, but having been members of YICC for over 30 years, we feel a tremendous sense of hakarat hatov, gratitude, to our exceptional rabbi and Ruchama, and to our strong community for making us feel so included and for providing a warm spiritual environment in which to raise our children. As we all can attest, Rabbi Muskin encourages us to reach higher in our spiritual and learning goals. He celebrates with us in times of joy, and lo aleinu, comforts and offers practical help in challenging times. He is truly a rabbi's rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi. We are thrilled that Baruch Hashem, our children Michael and his fiancée Annette, and Lisa and Zev are here with us tonight. Many, many thanks to our dear sister and aunt Marilyn Selber for flying in specially from New York. Our daughter Tova and her husband Hillel are joining us via Google Hangout from Chicago, since they will be coming to LA Bezrat Hashem next week for Pesach. And our precious grandchildren, Hananya Avraham, Yosef Shimon, and Chaviva Margalit, are presently dreaming about this beautiful evening, we hope. My parents, Dr. Morris and Eve Gollum, Zichronam Livracha, were among a small group of committed pioneers who worked together to build the infrastructure of the Jewish day school and synagogue system in Los Angeles that we enjoy today. My father, a man of true humility, patience, and wisdom, was a Talmid Chacham, a master teacher. Some of his students are here tonight. An author of 2 books, Know Your Festivals and Enjoy Them, and Know Jewish Living and Enjoy It, and other scholarly works. My father believed deeply in the Young Israel movement. I recall him telling me with pride shortly before his passing that he had heard about this group of dedicated young people who were beginning a new Young Israel in Los Angeles, starting out in a storefront on Beverly Drive. My mother, Eve Gollum, was a dynamo who used her business education and leadership talents to build and foster the growth of Jewish day schools on the local and national levels. She chaired many banquets, inspired many others to lead, and left a legacy of countless children she considered to be her own. Some of these children are here with us tonight. All this while my sister Marilyn and I never missed a moment of our parents' undying love and care. It is to honor our parents for their unceasing love and devotion to their children and grandchildren, and to their passionate dedication to the flourishing of Orthodox Jewish life and the future of Torah true Judaism that Isaac and I have accepted the role that we are hopefully fulfilling this evening. You may know that I love the study of Tanakh. I always tell my students that the headlines of yesterday, today, and tomorrow can all be found in the Tanakh. If only we as a people had heeded the words of the Torah and the Nevi'im, we might find ourselves in a very different, improved position today. So, let us share a very brief, interactive mini-lesson together from the Navi, where you, our dear audience, will be participating. For those of you who are devotees of Rabbi Yetz Shalom's Navi class on Shabbat afternoons, this should be very familiar, but I hope everyone will respond, please. Could we please raise the house lights so I can see everyone? Thank you. We're going to have a brief review, very brief, of some of the highlights of Sefer Shmuel Aleph. Thank you. We know many of you know all of this, so I hope you'll answer, please. First of all, who wrote the book of Shmuel? Here's a hint. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Okay, so who wrote it? Shmuel, except only until Perek Chaf-Hey, until chapter 25, or some say chapter Chaf-Het. Who is credited with writing it, the rest of Shmuel? Who? Anyone? The Nevi'im who were at that time? God and Natan were credited with that. Okay, so in the Sefer Shmuel, very quickly, we see the rise of the first king of Israel, whose name was Shaul. What do we know about Shaul? He ascends the biblical stage, as it were, in Perek in chapter 9 of Shmuel Aleph. What do we learn about him? Come, please, anything. What is he? Very tall, from shoulders and up, right? What else do we know about him? He's very respectful. He's respectful of his father. He's respectful of his servant. He shows a lot of derech eretz in many ways, and he is a very humble person. He's a reluctant king, but who anoints him? Once again, Shmuel. Okay, Shmuel Hanavi anoints him. And he is then cloaked with this wonderful Ruach Elokim, this spiritual bravery, courage, and strength that allows him to become a king and act as a king. Unfortunately, he commits some serious sins, not just one. But we know the one that Shmuel tells him that will end his monarchy is what? About not destroying Amalek. Okay. So, we just read about it a few weeks ago in the Haftarah for Parshat Zachor. Very good. Okay, so remember, don't be afraid of making any mistakes. What says in this room stays in this room, except for good things about young Israel. We all realize that doesn't have to stay in this room. Okay, so he is told then that he's going to lose the monarchy. And at that moment, this Ruach Elokim, this wonderful spirit leaves him. And he begins a descent, a very just downward spiral into what the Malbim calls melancholia. Very good. Malbim, 19th century commentator. Okay, so he needs to be soothed, and he calls on a young man. They find a young man to play for him, and his name is David. David comes onto the stage, onto the biblical stage, as it were, and he has this wonderful Ruach Elokim all of a sudden now cloaks him, covers him, as it were. And he is, first of all, what do we know about David? What do we know about him? He's a musician. What else? What? Red hair and good looking. Very good looking. Okay, yes, what else? He's talented. How's he talented? He's a poet. He's a musician. He's a brilliant military mind. Ala milas, as they say. He has so many wonderful things about him, and most of all, perhaps, is his deep emunah, his belief in Hashem. And we know that he has the courage to slay the great Goliath. Okay, and where? In Emek Ha-Elah. Very good. We all, okay, like this participation. Okay, so, very quickly, he rises to the top, and it doesn't take long for him to become the most popular person in Israel. And it doesn't take long for Shaul to realize that he's the one who's going to be replacing him. So Shaul embarks on this massive manhunt for David in order to kill him. Okay. After a long time of running, very close calls for David says, you know, I'm not going to always be able to survive this. I have no choice but to leave my beloved land of Israel and go to the land of the Plishtim. And Plishtim in English are Philistines, not Palestinians. Okay, yeah. Okay. Plishtim, Philistines. Let's remember that name. Okay, so he goes there, and he goes to the city of, I've got to get to Gat. Okay, Gat. He goes to the city of Gat, where the name is Achish. And he convinces Achish that what? Well, that's the first time. That's the first time he goes. Very good. This is the second time. Now we're all the way, we've skipped a lot. In our Women's Torah Network class, this took us only about 15 years to do, in a little greater detail. Okay, but now this is the second time he goes to God, and he goes to Achish, and he convinces him that he hates Israel. He'll fight with him against Israel, and Achish gives him a dedicated city for David and his 600 men and their families. And the name of the city is Tziklag. Tziklag. Did anyone get that? You get the door prize. Okay, so Tziklag, and they go to Tziklag. Shortly after they're there, the Plishtim get ready for the final battle that will be the ultimate battle for Shaul HaMelech, to fight against the Jews. And David and his men are called upon to come there. It's only by the hand of God that they are able to escape having to go into the battle to fight against their own people, which they would never do. So, they go, but David takes the 600 men to be willing, supposedly, to fight, and they're gone from their city for 3 days. When they come back to their city, what do they find? The city has been burned to the ground, and all the women and children have been kidnapped. To their horror, now we're all the way in Perek Lamed. We're up to chapter 30 of Shmuel. So we're going to get back and see more what they see when they see in chapter 30. They come across, when they come back and they're horrified, their women and children are gone, their families are gone, the city is burned to the ground. What are they going to do? The men who adore David, his own men, are willing to mutiny against him. It's only through David's inner emunah in Hashem, his inner strength and his belief, that he rallies himself and his men to be able to go out and fight and find their families. They go out, but which way do they go? Where do they turn? They find in the desert, they find a man, while they're mad to find their families, they find a man wandering who's dying, looks like he's dying of hunger, thirst, and illness. Even though they're so eager to save their own families, what do they do first? They give the man bread, water, of some fig cakes and raisins to rouse his spirit and revive him. Only once he's revived, they ask him, who are you? Where are you from? Anybody know who this man was? He was from Egypt. He's a Mitzri, an Egyptian man. And what was he doing in the desert? He had become a slave to an Amaleki slave owner who had left him to die in the desert because he'd gotten sick. And it was only the Jews' first reaction was to save this Egyptian man's life. That's what the Jews did. Once they saved his life, he told them that he was they were Amalekis. Yes, Amalek was still around, and they're the ones who had burned Siklag to the ground and kidnapped the families. He directed them to the Amaleki camp where David and his men routed all the Amalekis except for 400, but they otherwise got all of them, and they were able to recover their families, all in good health and unharmed. Baruch Hashem. Up to here. Good job. Good job. So, and they also returned with a lot of spoils of war, too. So they made a profit on the deal. Okay, we could lower the lights again, please. Thank you. You're off now. You're off duty, but you should still listen, please. Rabbi Yehuda Leib Ginsburg, 20th century commentator, in his outstanding work, Musar HaNevi'im, directs specific attention to Bnei Yisrael's interaction with the Egyptian informant. How generous of spirit is Israel that they place the value of saving human life even over the rescue of their own families. They've saved this man not knowing who he is before they even went to find their own families. Because of their generosity of spirit in saving this man's life, they merited his directing them to Amalek's location and to the rescue of their wives and children. I might suggest that there are different kinds of food that are life-sustaining. The food mentioned in the Navi might also serve as a metaphor for the Jews' spiritual and emotional nourishment that we provide for each other. Spiritually, our rabbis at Young Israel of Century City keep us pumped up with lessons from the Torah, lessons of morality, lessons of menschlichkeit. There's also an emotional kind of sustenance, food if you will, that binds us as a community. When we share in each other's joy at smachot, or lo aleinu in times of sorrow, we know that we can count on one another. So whether it is the physical food, the spiritual growth, or the psychosocial support that we provide for each other, sustaining each other's lives and rousing our spirits, as David and his men did for the Egyptian man, come before other concerns, many times even before our own personal needs. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the mark of an exceptional community, and that is one that is generous of spirit. And Isaac and I and our entire family are indeed extremely proud to call ourselves members of Young Israel of Century City. Your presence here this evening supports this exceptional community. May each of you and your families be rewarded to go from strength to strength in the best of health and joy. Wishing you and yours a Chag Kasher v'Sameach. We bid you a good evening and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac and Geri Wiener, that was amazing. Don't leave, don't leave. We're screening the new movie Noah now. We're going to go through the entire Tanakh, so don't leave. The night is early, and then we're going to do the 10 Commandments, and we're just going to keep on going. What great honorees, Ron Kamenker, Gary Hiller, Kathy Barnhard, Isaac and Geri Wiener. We are now going to pull the raffle tickets and you enjoy your desserts. To pull our raffle tickets, please welcome Micha and Meital Hiller. Come forward. Enjoy your dessert.